Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Martavius,
And it's Cash.
and welcome to another episode of
Never Miss a Monday.
So, if this is your first time joining us in Never Miss a Monday, then welcome. We like to hop on here and just share some tips, tools, strategies, techniques, experiences that we've had that we've learned from other people as well, just to lead a more positive life, to lead a more, focused, success-driven, clear understanding of what you need to do and how to do it. So, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
So in today's episode, we're just handling the topic of that shakiness, that we feel sometimes, and being emotionally unsure, or feeling like things are just going not according to plan. And just what do you do in those situations? How do you handle that? And how do you get through it?
Yeah, so today we're talking about what to do when you feel emotionally unstable. If you don't know, I'm a yoga teacher. That's what I do. And I love to relate the concept of balance. I love to bring that onto the yoga mat because there's so many things that balancing can teach us on the yoga mat that we can apply to our daily lives. So the first thing that I always tell my students to do if we're in a balancing pose and they feel unstable, the first thing I ask is, where is your breath? Are you breathing? Are you mindful of the fact that you're still breathing? So I always start there, whether it's on the mat and a student feels emotional or feels unsteady just physically, or whether it's actually in day-to-day life and I'm feeling frustrated, feeling unstable. The first place I go is back to the breath, because that is that snap that just takes you back into the present moment, back into your body, and back into the fact that you have the power to decide what's going to happen as you move forward. So breathe. When you feel emotionally unstable, take a moment, breathe. My mentor, Brennan Burchard, says to breathe 20 deep breaths in and out when you feel frustrated before you move forward. And I've cheated myself on this and maybe done like 3 or 4 deep breaths. Guys, I promise it does not work. You must get 20 full deep breaths in, deep breaths out. And it makes a huge difference on how you feel moving forward when you come back to that situation where you feel unstable.
Absolutely. So just the instability, it just really reminds me of the whole thing of a ship, and if a ship is on the water is calm, the ship is good, the crew is good. But then when there's a moment when there's a thunderstorm and, the waves are getting high and the wind is blowing and you can barely see because there's so much rain. That's how it can sometimes feel, when we're under this emotional stress or emotional pressure, or even just stress, overall, because that can cause a lot of our emotions, especially when it comes to our decision-making skills. We don't normally make the best decisions if we're under stress or if we're, emotionally heightened to where we're feeling unstable. We feel like our ship is rocking in the waters, if you will. So, going back to the breathing, that's crucial. That's important, just to always do that. And a lot of studies are showing, that meditation, is even a great thing to just really center yourself and get to the point of you're focusing only on your breath. So that way, when you do have a stressful situation coming up, it could be a test. You could be anxious around test, or it could be just something you have to do. I don't know, that's outside of your comfort zone. Taking that deep breath to really just get a hold of, where your mind is going at the moment. I feel like a lot of people need that, but we don't always do that, So if we can just do that more often, you don't have to call it meditation. You can just call it, again, 20 deep breaths, or I'm just going to sit here and breathe for the next 2 minutes. Or there are a lot of different apps out there. Calm is one, to where you can use to just help you to recenter and refocus on your breathing, because your breathing is constant, right? So it doesn't matter if, stressful situations are coming, if your emotions are going, if you're thinking negative thoughts or positive thoughts or whatever, your breath is just always going to be there. Yes, it's going to change based on how you feel, but the breath is, again, always going to be there. So just always go back to your breath, and just, recenter. So meditate, find a quiet spot, write something down, but just really call that thought out, like call that emotion out, just really identify this is what this thing is. So it becomes a little bit less intimidating, a little scary, and more manageable to actually handle and get through.
Awesome. Yes, meditation basically like literally goes hand in hand with breathing. It's kind of like that next step off of your breathing. Another thing that I always like to suggest for people to do when they feel unstable or unbalanced is to take something off of your plate. So going back to the yoga mat, let's say we're all practicing tree pose and somebody starts to feel shaky or unstable. I always recommend, hey, it's okay to grab a wall, grab a chair, grab whatever you need to help for you to feel a lot more stable and secure. And when you think about it this way, what actually happens when you're bouncing? You're lifting parts of your body up off of the ground so that the weight is transferred to one singular part. So if you're bouncing on one foot, you're lifting one leg up and everything's bouncing on that one foot. Well, what happens when you feel unstable is that you start to sway from side to side, and it's like that one foot on the ground is like having a hard time staying on the ground. But one way that you can combat that is putting your other foot back down. As
Dun,
crazy,
dun,
as crazy as it sounds, it is okay to take stuff off your plate when you feel unstable. It's okay to reach your hand out and grab a chair, or put your hand on the bed, or put your foot back on the floor. It is okay to take things off your plate if you feel unbalanced, like you have too much going on. And honestly, that's probably for the best, because what would happen if you are on your yoga mat and you are in a balancing pose and your body's telling you like, hey, we've been balancing here for a good 3 seconds, but I think I need some help. If you ignore that warning, what's likely to happen? You may fall over and bust your mouth or bust your face, and I'm sure that's the last thing that you want. And so similarly in life, when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel out of balance and you just try to push through, at some point you're putting some part of your body at jeopardy, and you're going to come back and feel that later. So never feel ashamed to put something down and pick it back up. Just like when you're on the mat, if you feel unstable in your tree pose, you put one foot down, you readjust, you recenter, you breathe a little bit, then you pick that foot back up and you go back in tree pose and you balance even better than before. So when you feel unstable, when you feel like you're losing your balance, stop what you're doing, take some things off your plate, slow down, and then go back to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. I feel like in all of that, the biggest thing that I picked apart was delegation. Taking things off of your plate, and just going back to that whole analogy of, if there's a captain on a ship and the ship is in the water and it's storming, it's raining, and it's all these, terrible conditions going on the outside that rocks this vessel, in a sense. It's the captain's responsibility to call upon his crew, to say, hey, I don't know all the technical terms for the ship, so forgive me for that, but it's just like, hey, I need you to grab this rope and pull this down so this can open up, and I need you to, steer this way, or I need you to calm this person down, or, it's like they see the need for the entire ship because it's their ship, right? And they're not going to let it sink, as best as they possibly can. And so they're going to call upon the strength of the crew, the workmanship, of the crew, to be able to get through that storm and navigate through that storm. So you have that same ability, to actually call upon the forces within you, if that's something that you've read or you've seen, or a conversation you had before, and it's like, wait, somebody did tell me that, this thing does work, or wait, I remember experiencing this when I was little, or wait, like I saw this documentary that showed me that if, you do this or think this way or do this thing, then this will work. So always calling upon those things that are within yourself, or if you don't know them, asking somebody else who does know them. Because if there's one thing we all know, it's that we don't know everything, and we can't know everything, but we can know people who know other things that we don't know, and other things that, the parts of our stability, if it comes into, how we live our lives or how we do things at our jobs or our work, then we can call upon other people to help us out with that, because they can see something that's different from our perspective. They can bring about different experiences, and just have that diverse understanding of, how this thing works. So again, just calling upon, your crew, whatever that is for you, metaphorically
Me
speaking.
and my crew.
Right. Whatever that is metaphorically for you, if that's, your inner wisdom, or if that's the wisdom of other people, use that, call upon that. So that way you can really navigate that vessel through the waters, even when it gets stormy and rainy and hard to see.
All right. You just took us home. Looks like our ship is at shore, y'all.
So we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this episode of Never Miss a Monday. Again, if there's any other topics or, tools that you need access to, just let us know. Send us a message on the socials. And where can they find you, Cash?
You can find me on Instagram at Cashimawo, CASHEMAWO, on Facebook as Cashy Thompson.
Oh, yes. And if you have anything for me, you can find me at Martavius Thompson, usually on Instagram or Facebook. Just Martavius Thompson. You may have a C in there. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening and joining us for this Never Miss a Monday. And we'll see y'all later.
See ya.